Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the cricket star boy Tyrelle Audain coming with you with a late night live stream, and we're going to be talking about my favorites and dark horses for the ICC. As you can see in the background, I'm playing one of my So, guys, what's happening? Because I know it's been a while since I last did a live stream, and I hope all of y'all are doing well and in health. Important, always because of life and getting through all the problems that's happening. And just to let y'all know that this video is being that this live stream, beg your pardon, is being presented by the cricket star boy Tyrell. This live edition will be talking about the dark horses and favorites I've chosen for the cup. So, for those of y'all who are new to my YouTube channel, first of all, I would like you all to kindly subscribe to my channel for more cricket analysis, full game show videos, etc. The list goes on. So, guys, we are just one day away till the start of the 2023 ICC Men's Cricket World Cup that is happening in Cricket Crazy India. And in this live stream, we will be talking about favorites that I've chosen for the competition and the dark horses as well. So please stick around for the next 15 minutes to half an hour because we're getting cracking. So, folks, a few months ago, back in July of 2023, I think it was the 5th of July in 2023, I made a declaration that India and Pakistan were my favorites for this year's ICC Men's Cricket World Cup. Even though they are still my favorites, we need to look at a couple of things that both the sides need to figure out before their first set of games start this coming week. So, folks, I did have the pleasure of watching a couple of warm-up matches, and it is very disappointing that India didn't even get onto the park for their two warm-up games due to inclement weather to see who would they have tried out in their playing 11 for the opening game against the Australians come Sunday. However, Australia they did play their two warm-up matches. One ended in a no result against the Netherlands, and yesterday they defeated Pakistan by 17 runs in a high-scoring game in Hyderabad. Even though I declared India and Pakistan favorites, there are a couple of things we need to look at. One, we all know now that India did not had the chance of having their two warm-up games due to the rains in Guwahati and Kerala, where around this time of the year the weather is horrible in south of India. But that does not change the fact that coming into this World Cup, the Indian team have everything almost ticked to their book list, or should I say, their to-do list, beg your pardon. But at the same time, you have issues. The Indian team has a couple of issues that they need to deal with. The all important question the whole of India wants to know who is going to be batting at that all important number 4 position for the opening game against the Australians on Sunday. And in my view, Shreyas Iyer, who has done well in the Asia Cup and in the ODIs recently against the Aussies, he is most likely to be batting in that number 4 position. And in my view, who has to miss out for India will have to be either Ishan Kishan or Shubman Gill. But I think if you're an Indian fan, there's no need to drop Shubman Gill. He's doing well at the top of the order with Rohit Sharma. In my view, it is a toss-up between Ishan Kishan and KL Rahul to see who not only gets that wicket-keeping spot, but at number 5 position, because we all know Aya is going to bat at 4 for most of the matches. So there's no need to be there's no need to hassle with that, let me just say. And out of nowhere, if you're an Indian fan, out of nowhere, Ravi Chandran Ashwin has come back into the ODI team out of nowhere. And keep in mind, leading up to the Australian series, Ashwin last played for India in ODI cricket in January of 2022 against South Africa, where he struggled on what was bouncy tracks on the South African pitches. And for me, you got to ask yourself how on earth he has gotten back into the fold without playing any List A matches for more than a year. And a lot of people in India have said that Ashwin, we all know, is a experienced campaigner. That we know is a fact. But the problem is, within the last year or two, he has played a lot of test match cricket and hardly enough 50 over games. He has played games in the T20 World Cup when they could have gone for someone else, but at the same time, going back to experience rather than going for someone like Ravi Bishnoi or Yuzvendra Chahal, in my view, I'm speechless. But look at Ashwin's record in 50 over cricket compared to test matches where he has a better record. Now, in my view, I would have gone for one of the young. I would have gone for Washington Sundar ahead of Ashwin, because you need someone who can not only bowl but also bat as well. And Ashwin, I don't know what Ajit Agarkar, the chief selector, and Captain Rohit Sharma was thinking. And there's another question that you got to ask yourself. Will India, we know for a fact that India are likely to go with 3 frontline pieces for almost every single game. I'm talking about Jasprit Bumrah, Mohammad Shami, and Mohammad Suraj, alongside the 2 spinners Kuldeep Yadav and Ravindra Jadeja. The other question you have to ask, how would Ashwin fit in? Because Kuldeep Yadav is in the form of his life right now. He has done well in the Asia Cup. He has done well against the Aussies. But in my view, I do not see India dropping Kuldeep Yadav just to bring back Ashwin, because India, we all know they can bat deep. Kuldeep, he has a first class 100 and can play either 2 ways, either get runs or get out. Same thing too with the fast bowlers. They can throw their hand with the bat as well. We've seen that in England last year in the test match and year before. So moving away from India now, a lot of questions that the Indian management have to ask themselves. How would Ashwin get into the 11? I do not see it happening. Kuldeep is in the form of his life. And Ravindra Jadeja, there are times where Jadu comes good, both with the bat and the ball. Sometimes he just focuses on his bowling, otherwise the batting. But on the bottom line of that, India have a lot of question marks, have a few question marks they have to answer. Compared to the other favorites that I've chosen, Pakistan, who have a lot of issues leading up to its opening game against the Netherlands, which I believe is on Friday, or as what Big Time Rush says, soiree, not the not the not the party soiree, Suave. That's the Spanish way. So, folks, coming to Pakistan now, they have a lot of issues going into its opening game against the Netherlands, which a lot of people would say a walk in the park. But if you look at the way how Netherlands played against Pakistan last year, they gave them a run for their money, even though they lost all 3 games. And the Dutch, we all know, can be very unpredictable. They defeated Scotland, West Indies, and Zimbabwe in Zimbabwe to get to India. Keep that in mind. With that said, Pakistan, they have a lot of issues. We know already that they've lost their main bowler, Naseem Shah, for a good bit of months. after injuring his shoulder at the Asia Cup in Pakistan. Plus, the other negative right now is that the openers, they have gotten starts but have failed to carry on. And if you look at players like Fakhar Zaman and Imam ul Haq, I'm talking about Fakhar Zaman because Zaman has been out of form for a good while now, since before the Asia Cup, and now it is translating to the World Cup, and that is a big concern for Pakistan because Imam, he's gotten starts but has failed to carry on, and so has Abdullah Shafiq. So the problem is how Pakistan can rectify that top order situation. We've seen that in the past, and it's faltering again in the big events. However, if you're in the middle order section is safe despite one or two batters not getting enough runs. In my view, I like to see Shad Shakil get a lot of game time in the World Cup. He has done well both in test matches and in the 50 over level in Pakistan in the domestic scene, but he needs to translate those scores into the white ball format, and he has the capability of doing it. Coming to the bowling attack for Pakistan, and I'm minusing Shaheen Shah, Afridi, and Hariswar because they have done well in recent times. But I'm talking about the other bowlers. They have all faltered, or should I say, they've been below average. And why I'm leaving Harris Ralph out of this alongside Shaheen Shah Afridi? Shaheen Shah Afridi is in good form. Harris Ralph is coming back from an injury despite being very expensive in the two warm-up encounters. And keep in mind, he is coming back after a little injury layoff, so I will let him off alongside Afridi, and both of them will be the key for the Pakistani bowlers because there's no Naseem Shah. Hassan Ali has replaced him, and it's the same old Hassan Ali shit because he's been very, very expensive. And excuse my language because I have to put a disclaimer out there. The views and opinions are expressed by I, and if anyone tries to misquote what I have to say, I rectified it on my social media platform. But let me just say this: Hassan Ali replacing Naseem Shah is a serious crime. It is Pakistan's biggest mistake, blunder. The selectors, especially in Zamam and Babar Azam, made, but I'll get to that in a short bit. But coming to the spinners, Muhammad Nawaz and Usama Amir, they aren't doing all that bad. As for the main leg spinning all rounder Shadab Khan is concerned, he is out of form both with the bat and the ball. And since he's been struggling a lot of late and with Abra Ahmed in the reserves, either Nawaz, who we all know is going to be in the starting 11, alongside Shadab, Nawaz will have to do most of the stepping up. And what should Pakistan do as well is rotate their spinners. Like, for example, if Nawaz plays one game and Usama Amir plays the following game and vice versa, it would work out. However, I do not see it happening. The reason why I don't see it happening is because Babar Azam, we all know for a fact, refuses to change his playing 11 whether they win or not. And another wild take that I want to share, or should I say hashtag cricket confessions, if I was in Zamam ul Haq's head right now, or should I say if I was chief selector Inzi, I would have selected Zaman Khan over Hassan Ali on any day. Why I'm saying this is because Zaman Khan nowadays is a way much better bowler than Hassan Ali. Even though Zaman has only played one ODI, Zaman could have easily been the alternative since Naseem is not there. And it's the same old dotishness with favoritism. When Naseem got injured, Zaman Khan should have been in the World Cup lineup right away, and he could have been the surprise package. Too bad he's in the reserves because of the same old favoritism shit, which has always disappointed cricket fans, and in my view, it is unacceptable. Now, moving away from favorites, a lot of people have said India and Pakistan are likely going to be in the semis with England and Australia. And the reason why we're not going to England and Australia much, they do not have much problems, despite the fact that Australia recently is coming off a 5-game losing streak, 3 in South Africa when they were 2-0 ahead and come back and surrendered the series 3 matches to 2 against South Africa. Then they lost the first 2 games against India, which was another setback. Then they won the last game. And then they're almost ready for the World Cup compared to Pakistan, though. And we all know what has happened with the Aussies in the past. You all remember 2007 World Cup. They were on a losing streak going. They were on a losing streak going into the big event here in the Caribbean, or should I say here in the Caribbean. And guess what? When they came to the Caribbean for the World Cup, they won every single game, and that's how they completed the hat trick of titles. Then, so we're moving away from the favorites now to dark horses. England, we know, is another favorite, so as the Aussies. But the reason why I went for India and Pakistan because they're my favorite teams, and that's full stop. So moving to the dark horses now for the World Cup, and I'm gonna explain why New Zealand are also my favorites, but at the same time dark horses and reigning runners up, and why I have South Africa, aka the Chokers, as dark horses. This is part two of the favorites and the dark horses for the Cricket World Cup, all in one live stream. So we're talking about the Kiwis now. The Kiwis have reached the last two ICC Men's Cricket World Cup finals in 2015 and 2019 due to the way how they have played their very aggressive mindset, and they've been very impressive in the last two World Cup events. However, when it comes to championship finals, they miss out on the golden opportunity big time. And 2019, in my view, should have been the year when the Black Caps and England should have been declared the first ever joint winners of the ICC Cricket World Cup. However, that wasn't to be because we all know how the ICC leading up to that World Cup was playing politics. They had cut it down from 14 to 10 teams. Then secondly, they mandated Super Over for knockout games whenever matches was tied in the past for knockout games in 50 over cricket, it could have been decided on either a comeback on wickets or boundaries. But in my view, the IC literally fucked up the last World Cup and denied New Zealand a world title, and it is still disappointing up till this day. But nevertheless, New Zealand and England played the best Cricket World Cup final then, but both teams should have ended up being joint winners, but ICC, they jacked us the scene. So, folks, in my view, I do have a feeling that 2023 this year might just be the golden opportunity for Kane Williamson's men to finally get their hands on the big prize. And obviously, Kane Williamson is the key for New Zealand, and all eyes will be on Williamson himself, the captain, who is coming back from a torn ACL he sustained at the opening game of the IPL. And let me just say, if you're a New Zealand fan, there's positive news. He has done well in the warm-up encounter as an outright batter against Pakistan, and did had a knock also against South Africa. And not only he's the main key for them in the batting lineup, there's also opening batter Devon Conway, who has had a below par series in England just last month. He scored 100 in the first game, then second, third, and fourth game he had below par scores of 14, 9, and 7, which was disappointing. Too bad they lost the series 3 matches to 1. And I have to also say, interim skipper Tom Latham is also going through a bad patch as well. And since he is the captain now is the time more than ever for him to lead from the front. He had a lean series against England where he failed to get a big score. But the big hitting positive the Kiwis have in their batting lineup is down the order, down at 6-7, Glenn Phillips. He can smack it a very long way. As for the bowlers, Trent Boult, who recently made a comeback into the team after a year hiatus, can be very devastating and lethal with the new ball. So as Tim Southee, who will at some point get a chance to play in the World Cup due to him having surgery on the thumb recently after he got injured against England at Lords. Then you got the fast and furious pace of Matt Henry, beg your pardon, and Lockie Ferguson for the fast bowling galore. Coming to the other dark horses, South Africa, we have all known for a long time now, have always been chokers when it comes to losing matches in big knockout games. Why South Africa will be a dark horse in this World Cup is because of two things. Their batters have been playing the very aggressive mindset. We've seen it against West Indies earlier this year, and just last month they played the same aggressive mindset against the Aussies. And keep in mind the way how they played against the Australians last month to come back from 2-0 down to defeat them 3-2. The Proteas, who narrowly automatically qualified for cricket's biggest showpiece, they'll have to play their skins out to make the semi-finals this time around. And if the South Africans want to make it there, they'll have to do it without Anrich Nokia and Sisanda Magala, or should I say Magala, who both failed respective fitness tests and were replaced in the 15-man squad by Andil Filawalo and Lizard Williams. While the latter, Filawalo, did play in one of the ODIs against Australia last month and made an impression. But sticking with pace attack, it is heavily loaded thanks to the South African selectors selecting five fast bowlers led by Kagiso Rabada, the Danger Man, Marco Jansen, Lulingi Ijinge, I'm not sure if I got it right, Luengi Ngindi, beg your pardon, and Gerald Coetzee, who made his debut earlier this year for the Proteas against West Indies in the second game. They are the other quicks that are in the squad. And as for their batting order, it is power packed and it features the experienced Quinton de Kock, who will be retiring from ODIs after the World Cup. And other than him, there's Reza Hendricks, Henrich Klaassen, Adam Markram, David Miller, and Rassi van der Dussen to fire up the Indian subcontinent with their style of fearless, aggressive batting. And then you got the spin twins of Kishore Maharaj, who miraculously recovered also from a torn ACL too, and Tabriz Shamsi, the wily old fox. No, I won't say the wily old fox, beg your pardon. The two left arm spinning dynamites in their spin attack. And South Africa will be led by Temba Bavuma. So there you have it, my friends. That's the favorites and dark horses edition of the ICC Men's Cricket World Cup 2023 that I have chosen. And just to be fair, for those who like Australia and England, they are likely to make the semis as what I predicted, but it's not going to be an easy World Cup for any of the teams overall. So I will not need to go through Australia and England because we all know they have all the boxes ticked, even though the Aussies had a bad patch. And to be honest, Australia had won 5 World Cups in the past compared to England, which won the last edition in 2019 via the one over eliminator. While India and West Indies, beg your pardon, who are not in this year's World Cup for the first time since the interception of the event, both have 2 each, and Pakistan and Sri Lanka have 1 World Cup title amongst themselves. Now I cannot wait for the World Cup to start Thursday, and for my friends here in the Caribbean, especially here in Trinidad and Tobago, you guys can watch the matches live on ESPN Caribbean. And also I would like to recommend every one of my followers in the Caribbean to check their local listings for the times and the World Cup matches though. BTW, the first match on Thursday, involves England and New Zealand. The match is expected to start at 4:30 in the morning. That is 2 p.m. Indian Standard Time for all the live action. And good luck to the 10 teams over the course of the 48 matches at the World Cup, and may the best team win. So, folks, I wrap up this late night live stream. I hope you all stay blessed, stay safe, stay well, and be cool and be very collective. Thank you all and stay cool.